Hello everyone, and thank you once again for joining me on another video on African art. This time on how I bought chihuahuas from a haunted house. Anyone who knows me knows that I not only collect African art, but I collect, one of my favorites are Sinufo hornbills and chihuahuas. Now, the thing about collecting African art, when you get into the more expensive copies, notice I said copies because all African art are copies. It can be quite expensive. Because I'm always looking for a break, so to speak. I remember once I was told from another collector that buyers aren't looking for the deal, they're looking for the steal, meaning trying to get the most that they can for the cheapest amount of money possible. Now, let me go over here. A little bit more background on me besides being a collector. I'm also a published author of 2 books. I want to share those with you. Now, as an author, people have always asked me, do I ever run out of things to talk about and to write about? And the truth is never, because interesting or weird things always happen to me. Hence, this story that I want to get into, how I bought chihuahuas from a haunted house. I rarely buy African art on Facebook Marketplace. However, one day I was just messing around. I typed in African statues and something popped up that said fertility gazelles, something like that. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what that is, but I could tell from the horns that those were clearly chihuahuas. And it had, $100 for, and I was like, okay, is this for both? Is this for one? Because chihuahuas of that size, those both were about 53 inches, are about $300, $350 minimum. So I was like, hey, I got to check this out. So I messaged the seller and I asked, is this for both? Is this for just one? And she said, it is in fact for both. So I was like, okay, I'm interested. Now, she was an hour away from me, maybe a little further than that. And we agreed to meet at her job, which was halfway. She works at a haunted house. It was Friday the 13th, it just so happened to be Friday the 13th, and the haunted house was open for business. So I mean, I was just baffled by this whole thing. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, am I being punked to get something just isn't right about this. So while I'm sitting there thinking about all this, a hearse pulls up. While sitting there, I'm just, I'm not going to say I was scared right there in a haunted house on Friday the 13th, but I was nervous. Right then, the seller messaged me and she said, don't be alarmed. I'll be in costume. So she arrives, she gets out of the car, full makeup with vampire teeth. So the seller pulls out two sun-bleached Chihuaras, and the horns were broken. It looked like she tried to repair them, but it was not good. She looked like she tried to use Elmer's glue or something like that. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, if I'm able to repair this, and I'm used to that from getting pieces from Africa. Sometimes they arrive damaged. So I'm like, if I can repair this, it's a win. But if I am not able to repair this, it's $100 loss, because who's going to buy Chihuahuas without horns? That's what they're all about, basically. So I'm looking at these broken horns, and the seller says to me, the horns are broken because she believed that she was broken. She was very sad, and I was listening to her story, but I had to focus on not the deal, but the steal. And I asked her, would you accept $80? She agreed. I don't feel like I took advantage of the seller. After all, the horns again were broken, and the Chihuahuas definitely needed some love. And thankfully, because of my woodworking skills, uh, I was able to repair the Chihuahuas, but it was not easy. One of the like I usually tape the horns, glue, tape, using Titebond. They have a darker color, so it just blends right in. It's perfect. But one of the Chihuahua's horns were so severely damaged, I had to staple them with the glue so that the glue could set up. And then after the glue dries, I could pull the staples out, sand and stain. I also mounted on each of the Chihuahuas a black wooden base. Most of my Chihuahuas are mounted on black wooden bases. This prevents them from falling because they're extremely fragile, and I don't want to get the horns. I don't want the horns to break, again from how they were broken in the first place from the seller. So here are some pictures before and after of my repairs. I'm very happy with my Chihuahuas. If you don't know by now, these are the two right here, and I'm happy how everything came out. So I'm going to do something in this video as a bonus, so to speak. I'm going to share a lot of my African art in a video. I hope that you can appreciate it, and check this out. thank you for viewing this video, and I hope that you enjoyed it and you learned a few things. As always, you take care and be safe.